In this week's parasha, BECHUKOTAI, with the opening words, Im BECHUKOTAI telechu, if you follow my statutes, my laws, the Alter Rebbe explains and spends time emphasizing the choice of the word BECHUKOTAI, that the word chok is related to the verb chakika of engraving. It's the same word. And we know that on the 10 Commandments, on the Luchos, the 2 tablets which Moshe Rabbeinu brought down, the letters were engraved within the stone, sapphire actually it was. And he notes and emphasizes that what's the point of engraving? That the communication is entrenched within the material which the communication derives from. It's one and the same material, as opposed to normative writing, pen on paper or quill on parchment, where you have a separate surface spreading over the base, and that is the surface of the ink spreading over the background of the parchment or the paper. In other words, we have 2 elements, ink and parchment, whereas in engraving, it's all one. And he explains that this refers to the idea of the Torah being sourced at the very essence of godliness, way beyond the comprehension of a human being. In fact, in Kabbalistic terms, way beyond the first highest world of Atzilus, because we're talking about the Torah at the level of connection to Hashem intrinsically. That's why the engraving aspect represents that profound connection. But at that connection, you and I have no capacity to be able to have a Torah. So Hashem employs the mechanism which we call tzimtzum, contraction, to be able to contract the level of the Torah from these higher spiritual forms down within the worlds that you and I ultimately in our world can recognize it as a book, meaning letters on paper. That becomes already the second format, ink on parchment. So we now have 2 formats of the Torah. At the essence where it's engraved, it's all one. And at our level, we have 2. That means that there is a capacity for us to ultimately understand God through what Hashem reveals, through tzimtzum, in the Torah format that we have. He goes on and explains that this is also representative within the Jewish soul. Within the Jewish soul, there are also 2 levels. There's the soul as it is in its original state within godliness, because in the Zohar, there's a principle that 3 things are totally intertwined. What are the 3 things? They are the Torah, God, and the Jewish soul, totally within one. And therefore, at its highest level, the Jewish soul possesses within it also the Torah and godliness within the one element of Jewish soul. However, once the soul comes down to this level, what we have is the separation. God above, we have the Torah as a script, and there is our soul, the lower level as well. So it's fascinating how we have this notion of engraving, unification, and the idea of writing, which means elemental separation, and they help us understand the nature of our soul, which is ultimately located at the point of engraving, and also the soul that is representative of ink on parchment. So recognizing those 2 elements, let's spend a little bit of time trying to be able to be conscious of this duality in a way that will allow us to understand that we are connected at the highest level while we manifest ourselves at this level. So gently close your eyes and just become aware that the top of your head has a spiritual umbilical cord extending beyond your head to the furthest degree, right up to spirituality, essence, of godliness. Imagine that spiritual umbilical cord connects you, we, the embryo, with godliness, the essence of godliness, and feel the sense of being spiritually fed through this spiritual umbilical cord, constantly maintaining us, maintaining our existence, maintaining our significance from the highest level, where our soul is engraved within godliness and flows the food of Torah down to our level, where here also we are imbued with godliness and Torah that feeds us constantly, feeds our soul, and thereby feeds our body through the soul's animation of the body. Spend a moment in gratitude that this spiritual umbilical cord constantly maintains us with the purest and highest aspect of godliness at the level of chakiko, engraving, and yet manifests here almost impossibly in the physical world, where it is as if God is written ink and parchment on our soul. And gently open your eyes, coming all the way back, being conscious this week of this very important lesson and source of our existence.